Hi, what's up, everybody? Welcome to On the Town with Tanya. You were watching On the Town again, and thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate you. Please share and subscribe to our channel, and thank you to our new subscribers. So, welcome back. And as you know, the writer's strike part is over, at least. We're still working on it for the actors. I'm sure it'll come through. But for now, at least one part is over, so that's good. So today's guest is a poet, a screenwriter, and she's an author here to promote her new book, Dance with Darkness. And she's also here to talk with us, excuse me, tongue tied, about the effects the writer's strike has had. So please welcome Sai Marie Johnson. Hi. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
Excellent. I'm in a different space, so the lighting, you see, I have a cyborg head here going on, but it's great. Thank you so much for coming back and chatting with us. We appreciate you so much. Welcome. Congratulations on your new book, Dance with Darkness. That's right.
Yes.
Yes. So, first we'll talk about the writer's strike, I guess, right? And then we'll segue into the book, and you can tell us about it and where we can pick it up and all that great stuff. So, the writer's strike is finally over. Guys, forgive that. That's an alarm. It's a camera. I'm looking at something, and it keeps going off. So I apologize. There's nothing going on. I'm perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with me. Okay. So, let's see. The writer's strike is over. And now you do multiple things. You're a poet, you're a writer, you do screenplays, you do ghostwriting, and you have your own company, which, by the way, tell me the name of the company. That's
my company is Infinity Creations, as it looks at the bottom of the screen. And yeah, I just got my LLC launched in April. So it's something that I did like right after I got done talking to you the last time.
Wow, congratulations. Yay. And so what do you provide? Sorry, sidetrack for a minute, guys. What do you provide?
That's fine. I provide obviously ghostwriting services because first and foremost, I'm a writer, but I actually have some people that are on my team now too. So I have a few people that are freelancing for me and doing things as well. But we do editorial, we do book trailers, book covers, book teasers, anything related to the marketing that you need for like videography, TikToks. I'm a content creator too. So I kind of just offer any of those things if people want that. But first and foremost, and primarily, the bulk of the work is in ghostwriting. And sometimes that's book series. Sometimes that's, there goes my cat, just a guest appearance there. But sometimes it's like, it can be content for like, I've worked for video game companies and done script writing for them. And I don't mean the script writing for like the actual software language, but I mean like for the characters or whatever the scenery is, within the story itself that's going to be programmed for that. I've done things like that. We offer that. I offer content. I've done luxury like hotel writing for like the About Me, about like some big name brand designing hotel resort, and just the amenities and different things, and just writing copy for them and different issues like that. So it's a lot of different types of writing that we offer. And it's basically just on clients come to me and they tell me what they need, and then I kind of consult with them for an initial interview to find out what it is that they're looking for, which 90% of the time, like I said, it is ghostwriting. And then I just kind of work out, a negotiation for a contract for us to come to terms to create that story or that piece for them. So, yeah.
That is fabulous. So congratulations on that. Wow. So how has this whole strike affected your business? Because, yeah.
Okay, well, with the screenplay writing particularly, there were a lot of people that were trying to hire me once the writer's strike hit. And so, like in my last interview, I talked about how I finished my first full-length film script and it was on a studio director's desk. It kind of just got stuck there because once the writer's strike hit, everything stopped. And I was still getting offers and asked, and I would talk to people. I was still willing to talk to people to hear what they had to say. And, like, I am a member of the Authors Guild, and so I'm not actually a card holder of WGA East or West yet. But I knew that within freelancing, I didn't want to go behind the picket because I stood in solidarity being a member of the AG. So I was like, I do offer these services, but I have to talk to you about the writer's strike and where do you stand with that? And do you understand? So there were lots of people that talked to me and tried to hire me, but I didn't take any of the jobs.
Right.
Um, and I kept telling people, once the writer strike ends, then we can commence talking about these things again, because I am a screenplay writer, but I'm trying to honor my peers. And there's lots of reasons why I want to stand in solidarity and I wouldn't go, behind the picket, even though
Right.
I'm not with WGA. So it was a matter of ethics and also personal commitment and devotion, because I've worked really hard to get to where I am today.
Right.
And there are people that, naysayers that say, if you're a successful writer, why are you offering services too? And I'm here to tell you that the way to become a successful writer is to actually keep your doors open and your options open, and to recognize the opportunity looks a lot like hard work. And the more projects you do and the more types of things that you allow yourself to be exposed to and experiences, the more you're going to become an expert within your field. And I wanted to be a master of writing. And so when I say that, when you accredit me with all the things that I've written in, that's because I chose to not box myself into one type of writing. I wanted to master the craft of writing as a whole,
Right.
and the various ways to do that and successfully. So that's why I've done what I did. And with my background and the different things that I've had to come through and the adversity that I've worked through to get to where I was,
Right.
I wanted to stay committed to the path that I was on for building something for myself and for my children, and to inspire, educate, and entertain the world, which is what I felt like my mission in life was.
Right.
So that's what I chose to do. And I would talk to people and listen to what they have to say, and just kind of, gear them towards understanding why the writer strikes were happening, why I couldn't take those things, and kind of educating people, to take the moment to educate these people that were trying to hire people in my role as to why what they were doing was actually not ethical, and what they needed to do in order to work with writers instead of against them.
Right.
Because honestly, whether you are freelance or you actually are a part of the guilds or not, if you want to break into this industry, we are peers. We are all in this together. And at the top, everybody knows we're not in competition. We're actually collaborating. So that's one of the biggest things that people don't understand about this industry. Yes, it can be very cutthroat, but if you want to make it, you have to be innovative and willing to stand with your peers to collectively work on projects to continue to produce for audiences. And that's how we do this successfully. So
Wow.
from
What-
there, I kind of just told everybody, look, I'm just doing books for now, and I'm going to continue to do books, and I can work on my own projects and my own independent things, which kind of does lead into something I did. I actually designed and I wrote, produced, and directed the book trailer for Dance with Darkness, and I hired a voice actor to actually do the voice acting on it. So it was my first complete production where I wrote the script that the voice actor read. I put all the scenes, everything together. I produced and directed all of that, and then hired someone to actually act the part. And, it's only like 2 minutes, but still, I'm really proud because I did that all independently and on my own.
2 minutes is a lot in film.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's like, oh, put pressure. People don't know. That's like, yeah, 2 minutes could be like what? I mean, that could be a lot. 2 minutes could be like 8 pages.
Yeah.
If you depending on how much cutting you do. So I learned that the hard way. I took a class at NYU and I was like, what? I have to cut this down? It's 8 pages. That's nothing. It was a short. And they were like, no, you have to get it down. And I was like, what am I going to do? I literally carved out almost everything. I tried my best to keep the meat, but it was hard. It was like being a comedian when you write a joke. It's like, come on, I got to do a setup. Like, it's like
Right.
me telling you a joke without a setup, and you're like, boom. And if it's a good joke, it'll last. But still, it's like that's hard. So kudos to you. I can't wait to see this on YouTube, or is it where can we see it
It's
at?
on YouTube. It's on YouTube. You can actually find it on my channel, or just, you could Google Dance with Darkness anthology trailer, and it will show right up on searches.
With Darkness anthology
Anthology.
trailer.
Because it's actually a collection of stories. So yeah, it's an anthology. I got it right here.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
really a
There.
book,
Oh wow, you're
It's-
going J.K. Rowling on us.
it's big, but it's actually a collection of stories, like I said, and they're not all mine. Like my story is in here, and my story is actually It's towards the middle of it, but there
Oh,
are 12 different author stories and
oh, nice.
paranormal and fantasy romance that are in here, and there are some really amazing people, like, really talented people.
That's great. I've seen books like that. At first I, thought used to think I couldn't get into them, but I read one and what was it? It was called, let me see if I'm saying it correct. Journal Wired? A Wired Journal. It was about that thick. But it was a few different writers, and one was Jonathan Lethem, who had a story about a guy who gave up all his words one day at a time. It was crazy. And then his boss calls like, "Where are you?" And he can't speak.
Oh,
It was
wow.
it was the best story ever. And then I said, "Oh, I think I like a bunch of stories in one thing." So that's how I got into that. It's because I read that. But I can appreciate that. So what was your biggest what's the biggest issue with the AI for well, we know what they are for actors because that's crazy. I forgot about that. I was at a club and I heard this big, I thought it was a Biggie song, right? And I heard another song that I thought was Beyonce or whoever it was. And I was like, something's wrong with these songs. What is the matter with these songs? And the girl was like, oh, that's the AI you're talking about. I was like, oh my God, that's scary. That is so scary. I mean, it didn't sound like to me, but to someone else, they were still dancing. I was like, why are you dancing to this? Can't you tell? And I was really upset that people could not tell. Same thing with writing. I've read books that I know immediately. I'm like, a human being did not write this. There's no way. There's no way because there's a certain thing that happens if Johnny and Sarah falls in love and they go give a kiss in the dark. I mean, you know what I'm saying? There's a certain thing that happens. There's a certain language, there's dialogue, tonation. There's all these things that go into that. I don't think AI can do that, the emotion part at all.
No, I've noticed especially, like, and it's funny that you bring it up because I now that I launched my LLC and I've been working with ghostwriters that I've been hiring for things myself too,
Mhm.
um, in addition to providing that service, now I made a staunch commitment that I wasn't going to allow anybody to use AI that I hired, and I'm not going to use AI for writing. I don't need to. I'm a real writer.
Right.
And this may offend some people, but I'm going to say it. You
Yes.
aren't a real writer if you have to rely on artificial intelligence to produce a story. The entire thing basis that makes you a writer is how you are able to formulate and put
Yes.
words together in order to tell a tale. And if you cannot do that, if you do not have the ability or the talent, I'm not sorry to say that you're going into the wrong field and you need to find what aligns for you because there are people that are meant to be writers and there are people who are meant to be doctors and lawyers, and we're all supposed to be different things. And there's been a rush of people thinking that they're going to go and start using these AIs and just flood this already saturated market and that they're going to be lucrative and they're going to make all this money. And I'm here to break it to you. I've been working in this industry for 10 years and that is not realistic. You are
Right.
not going to make lots of money. And in fact, if you rush into this industry trying to use an AI to write your book, the audience is going to eat you alive and they're going to rip you apart.
That's
And
right.
they're going to let it be known. And they're going to, if you do anything right now, this is something that's there's actually a witch hunt going on. And
Right.
it's kind of sad to see, but there are people that are existing, and let me put myself out there because I'm not afraid to say it. Having done this, I
Right.
have had people,
Mhm.
hi everybody, say to me, working ghostwriting, I've seen situations arise where clients are now citing false allegations of use of AI for rough draft written pieces in order
Right.
to get free material and free content so that they can cite that you breached contract because they don't want you using AI. And if
Wow.
you find anything that might lead them to believe that you wrote AI, even human error, they can
Right.
come back and try to say you used artificial intelligence and you can't really write. And this is established people that have been
Mhm.
working in this industry for, a decade or more, and
Right.
they have proof positive portfolios of having work in existence far before AI ever existed and are continuing to not use AI. They're actually using their real talents, but these people don't seem to understand the need for editorial because they're thinking, oh, well, now that all of these options exist, we can just pour through things, and
Right.
that's not true.
No.
Even with, like, the fastest I can write a 50,000 word book in 1 month's time, and that's offering if I split it into 2 milestones of 25,000 words.
Mhm.
Um, that's offering having that done within 14 days and 2 optional editorial rounds for each
Okay.
milestone, which
Mhm.
is 4 rounds of editing. And for a 50,000 word book, that should be more than enough to have it published ready within 4 to 6 weeks.
Mhm.
That's pretty fast.
Right.
If
That is
you
right.
are a real writer and you've been trained to write, let's be realistic. The Stephen King method is to write 2,000 words per day, Monday through Friday, and he doesn't write on Saturday and Sunday. That gives you 10,000 words in 5 days. And 2,000 words for a good writer when you become adept is really not that much. It's
Right.
really not. You can get up at 9 o'clock in the morning and you can have it written by noon, and then have the rest of your day to do whatever you need to do for your family, to take care of things. And you
Right.
have 5 full days to write that 10,000 words. If you know that you can do that,
Mhm.
in that much time, and you have actually sat down and perfected your craft, you don't need an AI, and you would actually honestly be disgusted with yourself to actually have to resort to using that machine to write your works, because after you look at the difference, and I actually
Yes.
tested this out. This is how I can say it. I took a piece of my story that's in this book right
Right.
here, Dance with
Right.
Darkness, and I put it into an AI to see, and I said, come up with 3 storylines for me. Every
Mm.
single thing that the AI came up with did not match single thing that I would have written myself, and it made me laugh because I was like, "You can't even emulate what I would do, and
Exactly.
what you have suggested is so mundane and boring that that's what's gonna flood the market with all these tropes-driven stories that have nothing to distinguish them." It's like
Well,
the same story told over and over again.
that's like and now now that we know about these things, we didn't know before. We heard stuff, but we didn't really know what was going on. But I know when I've gone to some movies and I'm like, I go see it, or some shows I've seen, some of the Netflix shows, not I won't say Netflix, but that's to say, but some of the shows that I've seen on various stations. Now I know why they sucked or they became very crappy. I said, what happened here? Like, there's no way possible a human could have wrote that ending. There's just, I mean, it just sucks. I mean, it's the worst of all worst. And now to me, I'm like, that was probably an AI ending. They probably tried to slick it at the studio and said, you know what? They're not going to notice the difference. But you don't, they forget that there's real artists like us who will know the difference. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
because I mean, you go and you learn all the things and the rules of the trade so that you can break them like an artist, right?
Right.
And so if you actually go and you see that these things are the content that they write, especially when it comes to romance, they
Mm.
cannot.
Yeah.
Because the AIs literally will tell you, I can't, I'm not. I've had a few that came back and said, I'm not programmed to be able to
Sure.
write this kind of content or whatever. And you can see that where they lack in dialogue. And the reason why is because this is a machine. It doesn't have observational experience or emotion to draw from. It doesn't
Yes.
have things like intuition and instinct like we do.
Right.
And so what makes you a great writer once you've learned the craft is how you can implement your own experiences, and
Mm.
how you can take what you see and observe in life through every
Yes.
stage of your life also, because we're evolving creatures. That's something about human beings. We evolve and we change and we learn and we grow, or sometimes we become worse because we forget. But in either case, these are all experiences that shape the human existence, and that's where a writer must draw their inspirations from in order to be a good writer.
Mm. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think there is a difference, and we can tell the difference big time. And so I hope I wonder. I didn't get to read the full contract of what was made with the deal, but I'd love to read it at some point because I know it'll affect us in some way or another. But I'm just waiting also to see what happens with the actors because it's horrible what they're trying to do to them. Like, I mean,
Oh
they just
yeah, I
write
mean,
them out and not give them royalties anymore and be like, we'll just use AI.
see that Tom Hanks came out in the last week because they actually have an AI out, I think it's on Instagram,
Mhm.
that, it's his voice and his likeness, and he's promoting this insurance product that he's never heard of in his life, and he said, "I didn't authorize this." And
Yeah.
also, there's another thing, Ivy Smoke just released a book called Roughing the Princess that is almost verbatim a retelling of Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift's ongoing romance, if you will. I mean, or whatever there is going on, because it's not for sure that they're together, as we know. But she wrote this book, and it was based off text messages that were on the news.
Mhm.
And this woman has 65,000 followers, and Book Talk is talking all about it. And I've sat back and I'm like, this is part of why there's a problem here.
Right.
Because these are influential authors that have a large platform, and then they're doing things like this because everything she did that I just cited, all of us who know anything about the rules of
Right.
consent and permission know that there's copyright infringement laws and things that are being violated, and these are by huge names, and they're influencing everything. And then there's people like me that are down in the bottom. I mean,
Right.
I only got 6,000 followers, but yeah, I work diligently in the industry, and I've worked with lots of best-selling, I mean, and I've ghostwritten for best-selling, and I can say a lot of things
Right.
I've done that have shown that I'm actually a true, honest talent, and it's
Right.
gonna take me that much more further to get that as high as she does, and I would never even fathom doing something like that. And she's not the only one. There's another author, NJ Gallegos, who just did, Hi, It's Me, I'm the Zombie, and that's
Mm.
another one that has gotten all these big things. It actually has a AI image of Taylor Swift on the cover, and you know she didn't get permission to use that. So
That's
there's just like there's people that just have audacity right now, and there are even well-known names that are doing it too. And so you have to be really careful about the content that you're consuming, and you have to pay attention because these and the other thing is these tools are coming up on tools that I use every day as a writer. So there
Mhm.
are programs that I use, and every single one of them has implemented an AI tool now. So
Wow.
these programs that I'm already using and have been familiar with using now have an AI attached to them. And
Mm.
so you almost are at the point where it doesn't matter where you go, it's immersed. It's
Right.
about to come to Microsoft and everything like that too.
Mm.
And I mean, I'm talking about like Office Suite and stuff like that.
Right.
And you're gonna have like all of these little like assistants and co-pilots and things that can help you while you're doing things, and it's already integrated into this program that you have to use to produce anyway. So you have to really pay attention to what's going on, how your programs are set up, what you're doing. If you don't want to use AI and if you don't want to consume AI, you need to be paying attention to what you are actually putting your money into, because at the end of the day, it's the audience that pays for these things.
Wow. Yeah, that's true. It comes back, right? It does come back. Wow. Yeah. I tell you, it's been a challenge for a while, and it snuck it in on us so well. That's the part about it. It's like
Yeah, it
we're
just seems like
everybody. Yeah. Some people knew already. Like the elite already knew about it. Some people really knew way. They've known for like probably 15 years. I don't even
well,
know.
a few months ago, I was approached by a company that offered me a pretty sizable contract to train their AI, and I point blank, I said I did not go to school for as
Mm.
long as I did and put myself into debt in order to learn and master the craft that I have in order to just go train an AI that's going to put my peers and any, um, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Aspiring authors, aspiring writers,
Right.
younger you there, I have a 22-year-old daughter, and there are young people in that age group. I don't want to program something or train something that's going to be programmed to take away those roles from those future generations. And what does that say? Let's be real about that. If we do that and we allow that to happen, we are taking away role specific jobs that could feed our children in the future, and I'm not doing that. There's
Right.
no amount of money that's worth doing that for 70 years from now, my great grandchildren to have no way to be able to get past, and those people that are elite to be able to continue to oppress them. And I'm not going to do that.
Right, right. It's a hard thing. I've had people say to me, "Oh, use the AI for this and that." And some of my tech friends that are like they're like genius on their side. It's like for medical, maybe if you want. I mean, whatever, that's fine. Even writing terminology for pamphlets or something like that. Okay, I'll whatever if that's what you want to do. But for our field, for books, oh no, it has to be songs, books, anything
And we
creative.
proved
It's
that during the pandemic because it was creative things that kept people wanting to keep going. And I mean, it was horrible. We all know that. Being quarantined like that and feeling like there was losing our relatives and our loved ones and not being able to actually celebrate them or have funerals or do any of those things. The only thing that kept people going was music
yeah.
and their series and their books, and books
And
blew.
our Zoom comedy
And
mic, our Zoom comedy mic, think shows were helpful. But you're right. Something like what's his Suri, not Suri, the other one, Alexa couldn't help you.
no.
She couldn't help you. They're like, so Alexa, make me happy. What could she do? Nothing. So you're right. I think entertainment is something that I don't think AI can. I don't really think it can
It
replace it.
can't mimic the human experience, and when you are looking for stories that, like I said, like, my motto has been to inspire, educate, and entertain. A technical being cannot do that. Like, there's only so much entertainment you're going to get from something that can't even relate to how you feel about, "I'm sad because I just lost a relative, and I'm stuck in this quarantined space and can't do anything, and I have to wear masks to go to the grocery store." They can't
Right.
understand,
Hmm.
you know, what it's like to have that social communication like we're having right now, like being able to talk to you and explain and express myself.
Mhm.
I can't do that to a machine and get the same kind of feedback as I would another human with their own human experience.
Yes, no, it's actually frustrating to me. Um,
Yes.
uh, but yeah, so we'll keep our eyes open on AI. What do you think is going to happen with the actors, though? Do you think? And before we start talking about your book,
I
what do you
think
think?
that they actually have more power than we did, as writers. I think they
Because
actually have the most sway. I'm actually very impressed with Fran Drescher taking, like,
I
stepping
love.
up, having been the nanny and being like, "I'll be the voice for this." Um,
Mhm. She's
kind of
amazing.
revolutionary in a way, and it's just really awesome to see that, and they have the ability to step up and really go, I think I can't remember who it was. Was it Ron Perlman maybe? Um
He thing recent, but I'm trying to think. Um,
There was somebody who got really upset, and he used some profanities towards some of the studio executives when they were talking about homelessness, occurring with, the
mm,
writers and things like that, and he said, "You better watch out," basically,
mm,
of course, he used some profanity, like I said, but he was basically letting him know, "You better be careful with what you say because we're actually the ones at the end of the day that these writers are the ones that produce the content that gets your pockets lined,
yep.
and we're the ones that actually take the parts to act them and actually get in there in the actual pit and do the work.
Mm,
So, if you start talking about us going homeless while you get to live in the mansion on the field in up on the hill, you need to remember basically the same concept of when Marie Antoinette said, "Let them eat cake." People will come for you for that. Like, don't say things like that when people are starving.
yep.
And that's
Yep.
it's just not okay the way
Also,
that that went ahead.
no, it's not. But also, they should be careful too because a lot of actors might get together and say, you know what? Let's start buying our own studios, and
And
we're gonna lock everybody else out. So now these are the people that's gonna do the right thing, and if you can't do it, we don't want you over here anyway.
well, I think that, like, the actors that actually are starting their own studios, I'm really like, um,
Yes.
Artist Equity, which is what, Ben and Matt are doing.
Mhm.
I think it's great, and the first movie that they put out, which was Air, I don't know if you've seen it, but
Mhm.
fantastic movie.
Really,
I
really,
absolutely loved it, 5 stars across the board, um, and
got
and
it.
I really think that they're actually going to open it up to make it more possible, and there are other companies that are doing
Who's
it.
this? Matt Damon and Fleck? Who's this?
Do
Who's the
what?
two the names you just said?
It was Ben Affleck and Matt Damon.
Oh, I was okay. I wasn't. I mean, I said Ben and Matt, but I don't know him like that. So
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah,
what about
Artist
BFF friends or
Equity,
anything
and
like that?
they did Air, which both of them are actually in the movie too, but it's the story of the, Michael Jordan Air Jordan shoes and how that
Oh,
branding came together and everything.
oh, that must be really good then.
It really is, it's really good, and, Viola Davis plays,
Oh,
Michael's mom in it, and she does a
oh,
great job,
so
and
they're
it's
top of the line cast because she's
yeah,
fantastic. She's
she really
fabulous.
is. She really
Yeah,
is, and
yeah.
she hit that role perfectly,
It's every role perfectly. I mean, this woman is like, I don't. She's
yeah,
like the
she
acting
really is,
goddess.
but, like, she totally
Right.
I guess Michael's mom actually specifically said and when he went to agree to allow them to write the story, he made the request specifically that, that Viola Davis play his mother, and Ben was talking about how he wasn't sure if they were gonna be able to do that because she was so high demand and she was
Yes.
so amazing, but he was like, "We'll do our best," and
Right.
they went and they told her who she would be playing, and then, of course, if you know anything about Michael Jordan's mother, like, she was amazingly intelligent, like, the way she was the number 1 fan of her son and did everything to ensure that he was going to have a set life. And
Exactly.
she was
There you go.
really smart.
There you go.
And so, Viola was kinda like, "Well, yeah, yeah, this is a powerhouse lady. It's an honor for me to play her." Like, so it was just one of those full circle things.
I will watch it now that you mention it. I'll be googling and looking for where it's at and how I can watch it because anything she's in, I like anyway. Just because I watched The Woman King only because she was in it. It wasn't,
Great job.
I didn't like the fact that it wasn't written by a black writer. But they threw in someone who was both as a director, I want to say, and to appease us. But that wasn't impressive for me at all. It just didn't sit right with me. That an African tribe is telling someone else that's not African their story to bring to it didn't make sense to me at all. Especially if the tribe is true to what they are, it wouldn't make sense. That's the last person they would tell. But it was great, and I supported it because she got points at the box office. That's
It
why
was the story itself and
producer.
her acting was what her acting always is. It's
Yeah, they
always
were all fabulous, and the cast came in London here, and they came and they all did a panel, a Q&A. It was fabulous. She is even more gorgeous in person than she is even. I mean, I can't believe you can be more stunning in person. You know what I'm saying? Like some people are like in person, but you're like look at her and you're like, oh my gosh, she's gorgeous. You know.
she just radiates from the inside out too. So
Exactly. That's what it is. It's her power. And then the way she talked on the panel about the things she fought for that movie, like something as simple as the braids. They wanted them to look pretty. They wanted some of the actors lighter. And she was like, no, look at this tribe. They do not look like, and they do not look like they have all that straight hair. No, we're not doing that. So she fought for that. She said she had to fight hard because they were like, no, they want to prettify it. You know,
right.
So that's not right. So I only watched it and I only supported because it was her, and I know the deal was all right. We'll give you producer credit, but I didn't care how she got it. As long as she got it, I felt like she's the person that deserved that because she's been busting her butt so long. Like she needs Oscars, she needs Emmy, she needs all of it. Producer credit, director, like let's go. You know.
Yeah,
So
she deserves that. She's that talented, and she isn't afraid to add her creative and her, just her intelligence. Like she's like, if she notices something, she immediately is like, look, this is how it is, and this is what needs to be done. And I love people like that.
yes, yeah.
But yeah.
I love her. But yeah, so thank you. Sorry, I chimed in a way longer than I expected on that one. But Dance with Darkness. Oh, the new book. Tell us about Dance with Darkness.
So this is a lovely collection that was actually put together by this lady right here, Ray Hendricks. She is a USA Today best-selling author of Romantasy, which is romantic fantasy romance. And it is a collection of, it's so pretty. Look at the formatting on the first page. Let me show you some of the chapters. Let me just open it up. Every chapter starts with the little mask like that.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And so what she basically did is when the writer's strike started to happen, it was kind of funny how this worked. And she's like, I got this idea and I want to do an anthology. And I think I wanted to do like paranormal romance, maybe like fantasy romance. And I would like to have it come, around maybe Halloween. And, is there anybody who's interested in this? And I immediately, when I seen it, I was like, I have just the story for this. And I had been actually working on my story, which is Exalted Anomaly. A little bit from before that. I didn't know what I was going to do with that story. I already had it started working and I really was enjoying this little side project. And this character just kind of sprung out of my brain. And when that happens, I always make a character sheet. And if there's any kind of story that starts to come out, I'll go ahead and jot it down. Now, whether those characters get used or not, sometimes they're just, back in the mind as something I created. Nobody cares about, but I was having fun. That's kind of the way that Eulalia started. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to submit this story for this anthology. And now it has 12 authors. It starts with A.M. Matsuda, which is a Japanese fantasy author. And her story is purchased by the Oni Lord, which is kind of based in that Japanese basis. The really great thing about is every single one of the authors in this collection are very incredibly diverse. Like I just said, we have the Japanese author. We also have a Black author. Her name is Lakia Chanel. She has a story in here. Let me see. What's Lakia's story? Make sure it's Preserver of the World. And she's really a talented author. Also writes fantasy. So if you're looking to find, new authors of color and you want to be able to expand into fantasy romance, there's several of us in here. I am biracial, Native American, and white.
Ask, right? You hit them all.
So I'm in here and I represent a little bit of diversity there. And like I said, there's 12 different authors and each story is like 15,000 to 25,000 words, which is the reason why it's so thick, as you can see. Times 12 authors, that's a pretty good. So it's really a substantial amount of content that you're getting here. And it's $3.99 on Kindle. It's on pre-order right now. It actually officially releases on October 17th. And you can actually buy this paperback copy though right now, which if you would like to, and it is $29.99, I believe, on
Okay.
Amazon. So yeah, there's a lot of really amazing stories, and it all they fall in between like 3 to 4 flame levels on spiciness.
Mhm.
And it's basically like your big kid, your grown-up adults adult fairy tale storybook, like you had when you were a kid and at night you just want a short story to read or a couple of chapters.
Mhm.
This has 12 different unique stories, and we got vampires, we got fairies. My story is actually about a special creature. She is a fire wood nymph.
Ooh.
And I actually have a whole species in there. They're called the Solaris Furia. And so that's kind of a little bit about mine. And yeah, there's actually a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and
Oh.
it's kind of dark academia, which it's called Liberum, and I believe that one is by E.C. Hibbs.
Mm.
Yes. And yeah, there's some really, really great stuff. So I definitely recommend all of you who are looking for, an awesome collection for Halloween,
Mhm.
who like fairy tales, especially with a little bit of spice, go pick up this today.
That is fabulous. Yes, pick up Dance with Darkness, guys, because it's sounding really, really good there. Um, so how did you we see someone said it's amazing story. Somebody already knows. Somebody knows already. This is your person here. And I can't say it.
I have a few people that have there are actually a few arcs still available. They're on Book Sirens. And
Okay.
so there are a few people who have actually already read a little bit out of these. And I think it's actually sitting at about a 4.8 on Goodreads and a 4.5 on Amazon out of those arcs.
Nice. Very nice.
But some people have gotten a little taste already.
Nice. I see. Thank you, some of your fans out there. I see them out there. I thank you for coming on and checking out Sai Marie today. You guys all go out and get the book. It's going to be fantastic. I wanted to know, how did you, because like to write fantasy and to write even like in different genres, but like a J.K. Rowling, or any kind of fantasy, any kind of special islands, places, and people, characters. It takes quite a bit of, you have to have like a really good imagination. What age were you when you knew I could write like, let's say, I say J.K. Rowling because that's so out there. That's why I say that. There's tons of people. Star Wars, there's Star
Story
Wars.
I actually started working on. I recognize now that I was working on it when I was like 5 and 6 years old, because it was part of, I mean, I'm from Oregon, okay? So, like, just being from Oregon in and of itself, I see you, Jinx, I love you too. Um, it's already a fantasy world. It's like
Right.
it's the natural, just the way it is. Anybody who's been here can tell you it's already like being in a fantasy world. We have like almost 300 waterfalls. The terrain has we have desert, we have forest, we have sea, we have where the forest meets the sea. I mean, all of it. So
Um,
I was in an environment, and
mhm.
being, that my mom is Native American,
Oh,
we were
right.
often like camping and going out and doing things. And so my imagination really kind of was built around my settings. And I
Right.
was just kind of like, okay, I'm out here in the woods and we're camping and there's no TV, and there's my imagination and there's my siblings or my cousins or whatever friends I got with me. And what are we going to do? We're going to pretend to be mermaids in this, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I just kind of was already doing that. And then as I got older, when I finally actually recognized that I had that talent, was with the story, The Tales of Valisa, which is Tamira, which a lot of my fans know as Tamira.
Mhm.
And that is because the family lineage name that it follows is a group of elves in a land called Valisa.
Mhm.
And there are lots of different subspecies within it. But it is basically about, mainly the core focus is on elves.
Okay.
And that was when I wanna say, like, 24. I was, like, 24, but I had already been writing, like, lots of other contact and paranormal stuff. I did a lot of, like, dark fantasy romance. Um, did I get a lot of experience with traditional storytelling? Yes. My mom and dad were very big on oral storytelling too, and I was taken to the library when I was, at a young age. And, like, my uncle is also a poet, and he's also Native American, and he was telling me stories, and my cousins and my brothers and sisters when we were little, based on experiences. And this is kind of going into some darker stuff, but like the truth about our ancestors, and not to just, I mean, I'm white presenting, obviously, to not just forget where we came from, because we did have that white privilege, that we did have relatives that were brown, that were on the Trail of Tears, and all the stories about the things that they experienced and how that happened. And my ancestor actually was one of the people that stepped out of line. So I can't actually connect myself back to the Dawes rolls, but I do have the genetic lineage and my family retellings from my actual ancestors and all of my relatives about what happened, and the genetics actually line up and coincide with what they said, because they said that my ancestor that was on the Trail of Tears was pregnant and she ran away during being the march. She decided to step out of line as a pregnant woman and ran through the swamps in the bayou of Mississippi. And she decided to do that. And then when she was coming out, she met a white man who actually happened to be Scottish. And that is where, and in that same lineage, I actually also have an African slave ancestor. So I have a lot of overlap, and it kind of makes me.
We might be related. I'll tell you about it later.
It's possible. It's possible. My ancestor was
my father's
actually
side.
from Guinea.
Mm-hmm.
So I've done a lot of research, and so I know about all these things. And so oral traditions were told to us so that we could continue to know that no matter what the government tried to tell us, or, I don't believe in blood quantum because it's a colonizer concept.
Right.
And it actually does separate people from their relatives. Like, I've literally had this happen to me when I was protesting for BLM, and my daughter and my three oldest, well, actually all four of my children are part Hispanic, but my three oldest ones are actually half Mexican and then, white, native. They are very brown, and they are presenting Latinos. Like, they look Latino. And when I was protesting, they said that they wanted, all of the white people to come to the front to protect the people of color, which is totally fine. I'll do that. Like, these are my kids and everything. But then they were separating, and my daughter looked at me and she goes, I don't want to be over here with these people while this looks like, and she said it, she goes, why are we doing this? This looks like segregation. And my daughter said that in the middle of this.
Like it's me.
Oh my God, she's right.
When I heard that happening, I was like, what? What? Everybody stand together in solidarity. That would be
exactly. And that's what she said. And the moment that happened, but see, if I had said something like that, it would have automatically been like, you're white, you don't get to say anything. And I understand that me looking white presenting means that I need to elevate brown voices first. And I totally get that, and that's fine. But at the same time, she was right. And I was like, oh my God.
So first thing I thought when I heard that was like, weird.
Yeah. And then I kind of started considering who I was protesting with at that point. And then I kind of made some decisions on which people that I would be affiliated with and what I wanted to stand up for. And that day I actually almost did get ran over by a white supremacist. And I was the one that ran in front of everybody and put my hands up and was like, because he was in a big truck. And I was like, no, like, if you're going to run anybody over, I'll be the first one. And he got like within a foot of hitting me and then slammed on the brakes. And all of the other people that were there that were supposed to be helping to protect us, they were like, hey, you come with us, and we're going to put you at the front of the line, because they could tell that I wasn't afraid, and I wasn't afraid to talk to the cops either.
Right. Yeah, no, that's I don't. Those are horrible things that happen. I don't know how they still happening. It just boggles my mind. But kudos to you, because I just when I heard that, I'm sorry, but as a writer, my brain went somewhere way left when I first heard that story. Like, they went in the front to protect them. I was like, what? So wait, let me get this right. I want you to go in front in case there's death or something. I don't understand that, but there's a couple of reasons why that was hilarious. As a comedian and as a writer, I could go 500 places with that. But thank you for your work that you did. It is what it is. I don't know.
Experiences in life, though, like I said, these are what have added to my ability to be able to write some good stories. So, like, I mean, there's some crazy stuff. There's a little bit of fact and fiction, and a little fiction and fact.
You have some good stuff, and we definitely talked behind the scenes, because some of the things you said, I'm like, wait, what? We do have Johnsons, actually. I found out, and I was like, oh my God. But we'll talk later behind the scenes. But so what else? Anything else you want us to know? As writers, any advice you can leave new writers?
Well, I'm going to say this. It is a competitive industry. It can be very cutthroat, but it's actually also a very inspiring industry. There are a lot of really talented, hardworking people who are looking to open the doors to make it possible for you to come into this industry. I'm one of them. That's part of the reason why I launched my LLC, is because I got sick of gatekeepers. And I
Right.
thought, with the expertise and the talent that I have and my ability to connect and network, why am I continuing to work for people
Mhm.
that are taking advantage of me and my peers, instead of opening the possibility and saying, hey, I got this agency here. I need to be hiring ghostwriters. Would you like an opportunity to do something that you have a passion for? Can you
Mm.
show me that you have the commitment? I want to give people the opportunity to take that dream and make it happen, so that we can rage against these machines that they're trying to build to replace us, and
Mm.
bring them down, because those machines wouldn't exist without the brilliance of a human mind to begin with, because it
Mm.
was a human imagination that had the science fiction idea to even produce them to begin with.
Absolutely. Wow, that's amazing. I just I think it's commendable that you started your own agency. We'll call it agency. That's correct, right?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, agency. You can say agency. Yeah, because you
Yeah,
provide
it
services.
is. I'm an agency, and it's a company, but it's an agency. You come to it, and I am, open to discuss how I can help you with your project, and what me or my team can do for you.
Right. So if I wanted to make my book into a movie, you could possibly provide a consultation and what that would look like.
Yes, for script writing and things like that. Exactly.
Okay. Now, do you guys have? Just curious if a script writer, because I do know some people out here, they may be watching, I don't know, who are actually looking for that. But do they have contacts to, like, so let's say this is a really good idea, like we can definitely do this, and this is how much it'll cost, blah 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 blah. Do they also have contacts, or that's a separate entity?
I have a few of my own connections,
Right.
but mostly when I do script writing for most of the clients that come to me or want help with me, they
Mhm.
want me to give them assistance on, like, the formatting and what sounds best and what looks best.
Yeah.
I don't actually connect them with producers or
Right.
studios, but I can
Right.
tell them the places to go that can, and most of the time, actually, they already have an idea of how they wanna do that, like, they wanna either, submit it to, like, a film contest or a screenplay contest, which there's lots of places that you can, be doing that, and actually, I'm on Stage 32, which is where I built a lot of
I'm
my
just
connections
ready
in
to.
network, and I
Where
try
I
to
met
tell
you?
everybody that's the place to go.
Yeah. Did I meet you there?
I think I actually met you on LinkedIn. I think it was a group in LinkedIn.
I don't have you. I gotta look for you then. I didn't know you were on
Yeah,
32. My cousin told me about 32. She does some work over there. But thank you. Yeah, no, that's a great resource. Writers, if you're a writer at all, or if you're a producer, what else? Producer, writers, what else?
I mean,
Actor.
any
Great.
person that needs any kind of writing help, honestly, maybe you don't even have any kind of experience with the publishing or producing or directing or anything like that. Maybe you're just somebody that's like, I really got this great idea
Mhm.
and I want to see it be made into a story, but I don't have the talents or the skills, but I do have, a budget of, let's say, $1,000, and I want to see if I can get a book written. I can help do that, or I can actually get that content written so that they can do that. I can point them in the right direction on, different places to go to get book cover designs and everything else if they don't want to hire me for that. And I
Okay.
actually do have some connection to some really good artists. I know illustrators,
Right.
cover designers, I mean, models, actors, voice actors, obviously,
Right.
because I
Right.
did the trailer for, Dance with Darkness, like I said, and that was actually narrated by someone who happens to be an author himself and is a gothic alternative model. His name is Rithian Black, and you should check out
Oh,
his work.
nice.
His
Rip it.
voice is on point for what
Name
he
sounds
did.
sexy, gorgeous.
Yeah.
Riffian. What is Riffian?
Yes, exactly. Perfect gothic overlord kind of appeal. He was a
Long hair? Or does he have long hair?
Yes, he does. And he actually does dress up, and he does, like, Renaissance fairs
I was
and
gonna say the long hair or an afro and a nice what do you call it? Shante cape. It's
Oh,
like
yes,
what
I
is
do. I do love a nice polished man with, like, the top hat and a cane too.
that'll work too. But that sounds fabulous. So we'll check that out for sure. What and let me see, advice to writers and yeah, what can we take away for today? So, what can we take away if you want to be a writer? What's the one piece of advice you'd give someone, the most important piece of advice that you'd give them if they want to be a writer, or
Keep
if they
writing.
are, just
The
keep writing.
number one thing that I can tell you if you wanna be a writer is, no matter what anybody says, no matter about those days whenever you feel like you can't get a word out, If you need to take a week, even 3 months because you get writer's block, whatever it takes to get yourself back on track, pick up your pen and start writing again. And even if you think that the things that you write suck, as long as you're actively writing, you're practicing the craft
Mhm.
and you're continuing to keep yourself active within it. So that's basically the gist of what I tell everybody is if you want to be a writer and you want to be successful in the writing industry, keep writing and keep putting it out there and don't be afraid to go share it with others. And if they critique it and they hate it, take it with a grain of salt because for every one person that hates it, there's gonna be 10 people that love it, and I say that from experience. I have
Mhm.
had some people try to beat me down and discourage me lots of times like any good writer does, but you know what? At the end of the day, I know that my stories are good, and I
Right.
enjoy writing them, and I just keep pushing, and that's why I am where I am now. I
Wow.
honestly, I had a vision when I was a stay-at-home mom. I had just had a C-section.
Mhm.
I had almost lost my life. I had to have
Wow.
25 blood transfusions, and this is also after me having 2 sons with Duchenne muscular dystrophy who are fully wheelchair bound. I have had my slew
Wow.
of things I've had to work through, but I
Wow.
kept writing, even in those bad moments whenever I felt like I couldn't go on and do anything else. And it
Mm.
was just a poem about my feelings and how much whatever I was going through was tearing me up. Now I share those things and I look back and I go, "This is what I came through," and it reminds me of who I used to be and who I wanted to be and who I am now.
Right. Wow.
You
Who I
build and create yourself. That's ultimately what writing has taught me. If you
wow.
can create something from writing, you can
Mm.
build and create yourself.
That's right. Wow. Well, we thank you so much for taking the time for coming in, popping in for a minute for us. We appreciate you. I know you're very busy, and I definitely want you to hang out for a minute. But while I say goodbye to everybody, guys, thank you so much. To all the size fans, thank you. I see you all out there. I can't see you on YouTube, but I appreciate you. I see that somebody's out there. I just don't know who it is. So, but thank you, and we appreciate you. Sai, you can thank your fans if you'd like.
I
uh,
really do appreciate all of your support, those newcomers and old timers alike. You're the reason why I keep doing this, and I hope to keep doing this for the rest of the time that the good creator gives me to stay here. And I really appreciate you. If you haven't already got a copy of this book, please go get it and check out Ray Hendricks and the rest of us because there's some really talented people, and I'm really honored to be a part of this collection. Honestly.
That's right. Dance with the dark. Don't forget, go out and get it. Just hang out for a minute while we say goodbye. I want to say hi to everybody out there. Let's see. Well, some of you have initials, so I can't say, but thank you again to all the sides of fans. I see you a lot of out here. Thank you very much. That's very nice of you to be so supportive. It's very important to support real artists. Very important because if you guys don't, then we will become extinct. AI will take over. So thank you, Joe. I see you out there. I think I see Grandma Norma out there. I see quite a few people out there. Somebody's on Twitch over there. I can't see who that is. Sorry, I can't see you. But thank you. We appreciate you. And go out and get the book, Dance with Darkness. And if you don't know where to get it, you can inbox me. I'll be more than happy to tell you and lead you to where site is at anytime. Alrighty. So thank you. And I'm trying to see if I'm going to play this thing here. And that's it, guys. I'll see you next Sunday. Had to think about that. And so I hang out for one moment while I do this, and then we'll end. All right, guys. Thank you. Go get the book. Okay. Bye.